What's going on, guys? Greg DiPalma. We're going to shoot a video for you guys today, basically highlighting the pre-spawn to spawn. So I kind of did a breakdown of the baits that I use for both, which was really hard because I like a lot of different baits, but I picked my 5 best for pre-spawn, and then we're going to go into the actual spawning baits that I throw for bedding fish. And the bedding fish could be looking at them or just blind casting if you're in a grass flat or however you're doing it. So number 1 for pre-spawn, I am definitely going to go with the chatterbait. That is by far, I think, one of the best baits for covering water and finding big pre-spawn females. We were throwing this today. Most of the fish came on this bait today. We had over 20 pounds today on this. Definitely one of the best. Second, depending on where you're at in the country, we all heard about red rattle traps. And I can tell you right now from experience, they're no joke. A lot of different places, depending on the forage, these fish are ganging up, looking to eat, for the spawn, because they're going to be on them beds for 2, 3, 4, 5 days. So crawfish wise, them kind of style baits, the fish want that for protein. Definitely a good one. And company wise, honestly, I don't think you can go wrong with any. Some shine on different places by the rattle, by the noise, by the beat. Besides that, shad still play a big player. A squirrel. Think about running down riprap. That's a big springtime thing. Staging areas. Nothing can really beat a square bill when it comes to knocking off that kind of cover, getting them reaction strikes, or getting the bass that just want to eat. Like the chatterbait, if you're fishing an area that's got a lot of grass, which we fish up here in Northeast quite a bit, swim jig. And the good part about a swim jig, a lot of times when you're on a vast area and there's a ton of boats around, and they're just not biting the chatterbait good, I go to a swim jig. And the reason I go to the swim jig is because it's subtle. And it just kind of creeps through the grass really slow. It doesn't get hung up that much. Really good bait to sneak up on them bedding or pre-bedding fish and catch them kind of fish. I'm going to throw in one more just because I've done so well on pre-spawn bass, and that's a jig. Whether you're actually physically flipping docks, hitting trees, or out in the grass, a big jig just gets it done for me every single time. Color-wise, honestly, black, blue, or green punk, it gets the job done for you. Now, when it comes to actually catching them spawning bass, there really is only 3 baits or 3 setups that I use all around the country consistently, and they work everywhere as I've been. So if I approach a bedding fish that I can see, I'm always going to try to use a bigger rod and reel setup because I want to have the bigger line, bigger rod, more power. So I want to get them fish to bite and I want to get them off the bed into the boat. So if I can, I'm going to choose, and this is kind of key too, I'm going to choose a beaver style bait, but I want to choose a small profile beaver style bait. So for example, this is a smallie beaver at a 350 size, great size. Riot Baits makes one called the Little Fuzzy, same size, really small. Missile, the baby D-bomb for Missile, another really good one. And like I said a little bit ago in a different video, I put a big 5/0 hook in that small bait. It kind of looks goofy, but when that bass picks that small bait off the bed, it grabs the hook almost every single time. You don't miss as many fish. Now, there is a lot of fish sometimes where you cannot power fish them. You just can't get them to go. Whether they see the line or maybe they're just, they've been caught before. A lot of spawning fish do get caught more than once. Kind of if I had to go second, I'm just going to go with a Wacky style traditional Senko. That can really get the job done a lot of times. There's a lot of times when I'm going down a bank, if I don't know there's a bed there, I'm going to blind cast a Wacky Senko all over the place, and I can usually pick up a lot of bonus fish doing that. Now, my number 1 for bass that have been caught, highly pressured, or just really hard to catch because they're spooky just getting onto the beds, a Dropshot. This roboworm, you can see it's all bit up already actually. This roboworm in this color, orange morning dawn, I have caught more spawning fish that have been pressured than any other bait out there that I've used. For the Senko and for the Dropshot, if I can, I'm going to go with a spinning setup just to go a little bit finesse, a little bit lighter line, braid to fluoro. I'm going to throw a 20-pound, 15 or 20-pound high seas braid to, depending on where I'm at in the country, anywhere from an 8 or a 12-pound fluorocarbon from high seas also, 100% fluorocarbon. Now this is a really important part too. So them fish, when you jack them fish off the bed, it's a really hardcore fight because they're in open water for the most part and they're going to tear, go left and right. So the hook is equally as important on a drop shot. I use a Hayabusa. either a 2 or a 3-aught most of the time, offset worm hook, but I use the HD version. Very, very stout. Even with a small rod at a short distance, you can really put a lot of pressure on a hook, so a really strong hook is really good. So that's for that. Rod-wise, for both of these setups, Shimano Zodius, 7-foot, medium heavy. Like I said, on the Dropshot or the Senko, the medium heavy has plenty of power to get them fish up and out. Now, when it comes to the actual punching or flipping bait that I'm going to throw on the bed, I'm going to use a Shimano Zodius, most of the time 7'2" medium heavy. If there is some kind of cover around the bed, like thick viney grass, you know, I'll go to a 7'2" heavy, or maybe even a 7'5" in the same model, the Zodius. Reel wise, you can choose any of the Shimano reels to get the job done for sure. Just make sure you choose a really, really fast reel, the XG version, because when that fish bites, he goes left or to right, you got plenty of reel speed to catch that fish, get him up, and get him in the boat. So I hope them quick little pre-spawn spawn tips help you guys out, and try it your next time out. I think it's gonna put some more fish in the boat for you.